Hey traders, and one welcome to you. Okay, so we're answering the age-old question of what is the best time frame for both swing trading and day trading. I'm going to give you my opinion, the time frame that I specifically use for day trading, for swing trading, and I'm also going to give you the time frames that I know other traders use who are successful in currency trading in particular, and I also got another guy who I know trades very well in equities. I'll tell you the time frame he uses as well. Okay, so we've got a decision to make, right? If we're looking at time frames, obviously the higher out we go, we're getting way more time, but we're getting much less information about what's happened frequently. So, or recently, should I say. So a 1 month is every candlestick represents a month. A 1 minute, every candlestick represents a minute. And we've got tick, which we'll come to in a second. Let's just put that, make sure it's clear. It's 100 tick. So we'll come to that in a second. Right. So one caveat to say, guys, is that we always want to make sure that we know what the higher time frame is doing. So specifically if we're day trading, we want to make sure that we at least know what's going on a higher time frame. So whilst we're definitely not making our trigger decisions based on any daily, weekly or monthly time frame, we do have to glance at that. But with day trading, once we've done that, we shouldn't have to glance at that again for maybe another week because we're so actively involved in it every day, potentially that trade. So from a day trading perspective, I think the combination that I personally like is this. So I'm always going to look at the 1 day first. I need to see the daily just because everyone's looking at the daily. I think regardless whether you're swing trading or day trading, you've got to look at the daily. Now, do I have that up on my screens when I'm executing? No, I don't. I don't need to. But I definitely want to see where the trend is. I want to see where the big key levels are, key support, key resistance, fresh highs, what's happened after earnings, if it's a stock, what's happened, you know, all the stuff that I need to do. That's what I'm basing my initial theory on. I want to see that I'm aligning myself potentially with the trend or if it's a reversal, etc. So 1 day. Now, for me, this is where I pivot things a little bit. I will switch between a 15-minute and a 60-minute depending on what's happened. So I prefer to use a 15-minute purely because I'm going to get a lot more information in the chart that I need. So I can get 3 or 4 days in, depending on what size screen you've got and how you're formatted. I can get 3 or 4 days in on a 15-minute chart, obviously depending on whether I'm trading 24-hour currency pair or I'm trading a stock. A little bit of variation there, but I feel like I can see more what's happened intraday with a 15 minutes. A little bit more detail that I like, because I like that detail. But if I feel that, you know, that's not giving me what I need to see, perhaps we've kind of come up in a different area, I'll flick to the hourly, the 60-minute, just to see kind of what we are on longer, get more days in there so I can see what's happened. Now, most of the time, you're going to find that that's maybe irrelevant. Now, especially if I'm in a short-term mode where I'm being very aggressive, I'm looking to kind of take stuff out within an hour type of trade, then the 60 minutes less important to me because I'm looking where it's going to go over a 4 candle period in my 15-minute, and I've probably got everything I need in my 15-minute. If I'm kind of waiting for something different, then I'll go back to a 60. So I oscillate between those two. Now, the danger is, guys, is that you try and have too many time frames in. I've made this mistake myself. Like, for example, trying to have the 15 and the 60, just pick one. You know, if you find the 60 is too much, it's not giving enough detail, go for a 15 and vice versa. Or maybe split the difference and go for a 30. Don't know why I don't go for a 30, but for me, it's kind of habit as well. 15-minute feels comfortable. I feel like I've got the information I need from that. Okay, so daily, 15-minute, 60 if I don't feel I can get what I need from the 15, but generally 15-minute. Then, this is where it gets a bit strange for me. I like to look at the 5-minute because I feel that on an intraday, now these two are interchangeable for me, the 3 and 5 minute. I like to see what's happened over a 2-day period or a 1-day period all in one screen. So the 3-minute, the 5-minute, that normally gives me a couple of days that I can get a good clarity of what's happened yesterday. Sometimes I might be able to fit the 3rd day, depending on where we are, if at the beginning of the day we've just started or whatever, but I can get a bit more clarity and see, okay, there's the levels, that's more important, right, okay. And specifically, I do have some setups that do utilize a 3-minute chart specifically. That's an odd time frame to use, and that's probably when you saw this, you were like, well, 3-minute, who uses a 3-minute? But only because generally I have some setups for that. So I will default to the 5, and if I want to go to 3, I'll go to 3. So my default is going to be the 1 day, the 15-minute, the 5-minute, and then the 1 minute comes in when I'm pulling the trigger. It's specifically for day trading. Do you know what? Even if I'm swing trading, I'm going to look at that 1 minute just purely because it's habit. I like to see what's happening. Now, can you get sucked into seeing that and looking at this small picture right under a microscope? Of course you can, and that's a dangerous thing to be. But if you've already made your decision, you've already done your filtering and you're ready to pull the trigger and you just want to see something specific, then I'll use a 1 minute on execution. Now, That is to say that if I have, let's say I'm looking for a specific price action candlestick pattern on the 5, then I'll have the 1 minute up just to finite and know where I am, but the trigger will be made on the 5.